Hello, everyone, and once again, welcome to Innovation Tech Community for the Microsoft AI Summit 2025. So, another session in another time. Okay, so today we have Lingraj Benny, and he is my dear friend, he is my dear mentor, and he is my motivator, and he is the principal consultant, cloud consultant at in Entity Data, and moreover, he is the 7 times MCT. So I'm eager to welcome you. Happy to welcome you, Lingraj Benis. And yeah,
Thank you.
hi, how are you? Hi, how are you?
Good. Pratap, how are
Yeah,
you?
so we are so happy to welcome you for Innovation Tech Community to share your knowledge on effortless infrastructure operations with AI. So the AI is very boon, right? Right. So we need to get some more
Sure.
insights from you. So yeah, looking forward to you
Obviously, yeah,
and
we'll talk about it.
share. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So over to you, Benis.
Thanks, Pratap. A great guy. In fact, I should tell about Pratap. He's organizer, he's the founder of Innovation Tech Community, and thanks to the community. I'm part of the community as well. I work alongside with Pratap. Plus, uh, we have got multiple speakers today. We had 11 speakers, 10 sessions. It's going on since 10 a.m. in the morning. We had plenty of recordings that's there on LinkedIn and YouTube of Innovation Tech Community. Those are the channels which you can follow for the recording. Same with mine. So finally, this mind session, which I've been talking for the last 2 weeks or maybe a couple of weeks, where we will be talking about effortless infrastructure operations with AI. When I say AI, for us, it is Microsoft Copilot at the moment, because that's where we have, or like Microsoft have integrated things in a broader way with a Copilot and with Azure, where you can utilize it. So many things we will discuss next 45 minutes session will be there for 45 minutes. Before that, I just often come back just to give about myself, or tell about myself. Did inform you guys about myself or about me? So my name is Lingraj. I have 18 years of experience through the industry. I've been into pre-sales, GTM, and was actually leading Microsoft practice for entity, leading the GTM. Not leading, I would say working as GTM consultant for entity at the moment, specifically on Microsoft products, especially on Azure. Also, some bits and pieces on different cloud as well. When it comes to solutioning and when it comes to operations, we do talk about AI. We've been talking about AI for the last couple of years now. But now it's time to adopt AI, and it's time to adopt AI in terms of what we can do and how we can automate the things. Having said that, let's move on to the next slide. Let's not talk about much about the AI or what it can happen. Before we begin with the slide deck or with the Microsoft Azure Copilot or Copilot in Azure, I would like to talk about brief what is the necessity of bringing Copilot into Azure, which is pretty important for every one of us, right? So the Copilot currently is in preview states, and when we say preview state, it's kind of like not available generally, like general availability is not been made available. With the Copilot in Azure, what we can do or what we can get is insights, discover more benefits of the cloud, what you can do, what you cannot do, orchestrate across both cloud and the edge as well. Like we have got edge. Copilot actually does how does it really work? It leverages the LLMs control panel, like how we can use the Copilot, or what it can do or how it can do is it uses the control panel. It uses the LLMs insights about your Azure environments to help you work more efficiently. It's not like replacing someone. It's something like making you more efficient, more faster, and more accurate to eliminate the delays what we have on a day-to-day operations, be it your support organization, be it your managed services organization. It could really help you a lot. So when it comes to Microsoft Azure Copilot, as I said, it's a preview at the moment. And what is Azure Copilot? What is Azure Copilot? Azure Copilot is AI-powered tool to help you do more with Azure. So Azure Copilot, or I would say Copilot in Azure, can help you to navigate hundreds of services, thousands of resources types that Azure offers in a minute, like in a fraction of seconds. So that actually helps you to be faster, be quicker, to do more things on your day-to-day operations or in your day-to-day operations. So it unifies the knowledge and the data across hundreds of services to increase our productivity, reduce the cost, and provide deep insights, which is pretty important for operations in given point in time. Like in 2050, 2025, I was about to say 2015, we never had all of this. So, creating a VM used to be tedious task. But when I say a decade after, which is 2025, if you see in February 2025, we have got Azure Copilot or Copilot on Azure, which does help you to be super fast in delivering the things. So Copilot in Azure, well, like will really help you to learn about Azure by talking to it. Maybe you get some answers immediately, wherein you don't have to do Google or maybe search. That's one way to take it as well. If you don't want to do the administration task, at least you know how that could really help you out. So how can I access Azure Copilot or Copilot Azure, Copilot in Azure? So you can access Copilot within Azure in three ways: the Azure portal and the mobile application of Azure. The third one is a great one, the Azure CLI. So we have got AI Shell. The AI shell will really help you to converse with the copilot and get the answers, generate queries, perform tasks, plus safely acts on your behalf. This is important, right? It's not 100% accurate at the moment, I would say. Oh, it's an AI. So like other AI tools, it's not 100% accurate, but it would really help you to proceed, do something. Ah, pardon me, I have got a little cough, so in between there'll be pauses. Having said that, we have got AI or Copilot in Azure, and we can access it in three ways, which we will see for sure on the screen. So now you have something on the screen which states that design, optimize, troubleshoot, operate. So where all we can utilize Copilot at the moment, we can utilize Copilot in all these four areas to ensure we move forward and get the things rolling. So these are the capabilities which we really talk about, like for perform tasks, like understand your Azure environment, okay? Um, Work smarter with Azure services, write and optimize your codes, which we will talk in subsequent slides. But before we go there, you have to understand some limitations what Azure Copilot has got in a preview mode. So this is not really necessary to prolonged way, like it doesn't carry over for longer time until the GA is there. This is there. It could change anytime. There is no certain limits or maybe certain dates which has been figured out or announced that this limit will be there until a year or two. No, it's not there. Once GA is there, like general availability has been made available, this could possibly change. But currently, what is there? So we can talk about, like, we cannot take any action beyond 10 resources if you would like to. Like, for example, if you want to create 10 VMs, you can do it, but beyond that, no, you cannot do it. But even 10 VMs, no, it's not possible, because we have got different elements, different services, maybe your NSGs, maybe something which is attached to your VM. It could be VNets, it could be IP addresses, right? So those are the aspects which would come into picture when we talk about resources. But yes, so you can do 15 requests during a given chat. In a single chat, you can do 15 asks or requests, and you can do 10 chats, I guess, if I'm not wrong. Yes, it is 10 chats in a 24 hours cycle. So that means you can do 150 requests in a day with the Copilot non-general available thing, the preview, Copilot preview on Azure. So some responses will be limited for sure and depends on the access what you have on your platform, on Azure platform, and also your RBC is really concerned here if you have that in your organization. However, the one which I'm going to showcase it to you guys is my personal tenant, so you will not have to bother her process. Okay, there is something which you have to understand, or maybe if you're a leader, or maybe if you want to bring Copilot onto your organization, limit something. Yes, we could do that. Let's see that on a portal at the moment. But what you can do is by default, Copilot exists or made available for everyone. It depends on what access level you have got on the subscription or maybe on the tenant. It'll let you do those tasks, or it will follow your instructions to do the task. Having said that, let's open portal and see how that really works out. So if I have to do Copilots, like there is an admin center, you can go, or Copilot Azure Admin Center. I did had a search earlier, so it popped up. I'm not going to change anything, but I'm going to showcase it to you guys how that really works out. If you just click on manage stuff. So to adjust the availability Copilot Azure, you must have access to all the Azure subscriptions, management groups in a tenant is what it says. I have it, but I have created multiple tenants, which is causing this problem. However, when you have got this for your company, you would certainly have that option to disable the Copilot for all the users and then make it available for specific users, so specific administrators who could really use the Copilot. Hope this really helps you guys to settle with Copilot on Azure with the accessibility. How does it can be accessed, or maybe how you can restrict Copilot for everyone. It could be like, you have third parties working on Copilot, like working on your Azure platform. It could be your developers who could be working on Azure, developing some of the applications, or maybe they want to do an optimization of the code. For that, they want to use the Copilot, which you don't want that to happen on Azure. So that's where you can check. For example, I'm just searching code optimization here. If I want a code optimization, and if I type in here, I want to have like code performance recommendations. I don't want that to happen in my organization because there is a policy, there's a limitation. Maybe my customer is not agreeing with it, or maybe my internal organization doesn't have that provision for a developer to use the AI when they develop something. So in that scenario, we could really come and manage the access of the Copilot on Azure and responsibly use it. Okay. So if you go to Microsoft website, there is a responsible AI FAQ. You can read all of these terms, which will really help you to ensure how to use the Copilot on Azure and follow the policies and the law of land of your organization and the region you are there. Having said that, let's shift back to the presentation, what we had. So the presentation also says the real world scenarios. So I've summarized or maybe bifurcated things in three ways, which is kind of like real world scenarios, I would say, or enhanced scenarios as per the terminology used by Microsoft. So there are three which we categorize. One is understand your Azure environment, work smarter with Azure services, write and optimize the code. So these are the pretty important aspects where we use or categorize multiple things. Just to give a hint, what we would talk in depth in these categories going forward, like for example, understand your Azure environment would be like getting an information on the resources what we have got, like analyzing the cost. Maybe some of the managerial team or the finance team would like to understand the cost and they don't know how to operate technically on Azure. They just use the Copilot, get their answers, boom, it's mind blowing them for. Okay, I'm asking the cost, it's giving me the details. Fine, I'm done with it. They don't have to learn the technology. Isn't it really mind blowing? I feel it's mind blowing for them because they are just a financial analyst. They don't have to learn the technology to understand the cost. So that's the beauty of Copilot on Azure. So we would also discuss multiple other topics. So within the understanding of your Azure environment, like you can query the attack surface, you can find the recommendations. You can also investigate some of the Azure Firewall IDPS attacks if you want to go in that. But that for that you have to use the Copilot Security or the Security Copilot on Microsoft platform, which is SaaS platform. So that would really help you to do many more things on the firewall aspect, so or the perimeter aspect of your Azure. So some of the examples, if I have to quote, like you have got work smarter with Azure services. What exactly you do on Azure services? If you're an administrator or maybe an architect, maybe a manager, maybe non-tech person would love to understand, do something with Azure services. For example, I would say I'm a developer, I'm not an infrastructure guy, but I would like to have an identical machine deployed for next code or next app which I'm developing. And I don't have infrastructure guy available in my organization. Can I do that? Because I don't want to do the way how the administrator would have done using the Terraform or something like that. I want to do that in my way, in a non-production subscription. Can I do that? Yes, you can do that using a Copilot. So that's pretty easy for anyone. For example, just a tester. I want to do the software testing on different machine, deploying the existing code, or maybe my developer would deploy it. And I want to have that machine deployed immediately, ASAP. And it's just an identical machine on the same region, on the same resource group. This is possible. Yes, this is possible. Ask your Copilot to deploy it on your subscription, which is not production. Go ahead and do it. Boom. That's another mind blowing stuff where you can be faster. No need to raise requests because it's a test subscription or non production subscription. Go ahead and complete the task, delete the workload or maybe the resources using the Copilot. So it's again the good thing for anyone who want to be more faster, more quicker in their operations on a daily basis. So third one, write and optimize your code. For example, I'm an administrator, or maybe I'm a manager. Like for example, I've been leading teams, the large teams, but still, I want to understand something is written is right or not. For example, my team is being asked to deploy 10 virtual machines or maybe scale sets for a customer with 3 web apps, and that has to be automated with the scripts. Like I don't want them to do manually, and they have written a code or maybe the script, and I want to verify it. Yeah, I can go to Copilot and ask, hey, we are doing a POC and this is a requirement. Can you please write me a CLI script? Yes, obviously it does for you. And we will look into it. How does it do it? We will look into it. So having said that, these are the things, the slides will go on like, demos. So we'll shift to the demo now. So before we go into the deep dive of the main demo, we'll do use the Copilot for smaller aspect and then proceed with the 3 main scenarios. Okay. Let me shift. Okay, we are onto the portal. I'm not using the CLI at the moment. I'm not using the mobile application. I'm using the Azure portal just to showcase what exactly or how exactly it does. So first thing, I want to change the theme, change my theme to dark mode. Let's see what it does. First thing, right? So I want to change it to dark. Wow, that's awesome. It did it, right? So this is a Copilot stuff, and I don't have to do anything. I don't have to go to the menu and then select the theme and then do it. No, I just gave a command, like said it, did it, like Siri does it on iPhone, right? So there are multiple things, If I'm a manager, consider I'm a project manager, or maybe I'm a problem manager, or maybe incident manager on the floor. Okay, someone wants to understand what's a criticality with the project, or maybe the ongoing support is happening. People are shouting on the floor. How can I know what's really happening? I don't want to know from a team. I want to know myself. How he can know, like critical, how many critical alerts do I have? Right? Provided they have access, they should give some information. So if it has something, it will give something. Currently, there are no active alerts with severity sub 0 critical, right? So this is amazing, right? So if I'm running an operations, I would know first-hand information on the Azure portal by the Copilot. It does tell me anything and everything. I don't have to write a code or any script or any command, or it's just that it pops out. Isn't it really great? Great or not? Please comment if you're looking at the, or maybe watching the video later. Please comment if you're looking at the video or hearing me, listening to me. Comment, isn't it really great or not? So having said that, there are certain things, for example, I would like to understand, consider there is a real-time scenario on a floor where there is an incident, oh sorry, service request, as per the ITL purpose. You would request, someone request, say that I need a server which is HPC, or maybe something high-end configuration. I don't know someone has processed that request or not, because there is no update on the service request. But I would like to understand, is there any machine which has been processed and created, but the incident, oh sorry, the request has not been updated? This could be the problem statement, or maybe a statement on a day-to-day basis in an operations, right? So what I would really check on the particular subscription is which VMs are running right now. Isn't it really good? So let's ask this. So there is one important aspect which you have to remember. If you're an Azure administrator or maybe architect, you would have already known to this. The resource graph is pretty important here. Everything what we get to work using a Copilot, it's a resource graph, which really helps us to navigate and get the things done. So this is actually giving me a command line, which I can really run and see. So the currently virtual machines are running in your selected subscriptions is 1. I created 1 test machine before the event. So that 1 machine is running in my subscription, which is only subscription I have got. This is a test machine. Now I would like to say, okay, that's great. So I got to know which machines are running in this subscription. So you would say this is all information which I'm getting. Yeah, this is just a get information. I'm talking about understanding your Azure environment. So that's where most of the top level, not the real admin level, would really use it. But again, it depends on how you tackle your day-to-day operations or the job. So now I'm asking, please restart the machine. Let's see, does it work or not? I've not used this command earlier, but does it really help us to use it? So it's asking, confirm you want to perform a restart operations on the below resources. Do you want to proceed? If I click on yes, it's just bang on. We are restarting the machine. These are the very high level concepts, like, what we have got. And I would like to show something for the cost management person. Like, I love the FinOps on cloud. So I would like to say one statement, forecast. Okay. The forecast, what's the forecast I would have if I have these resources in my Azure tenant or subscription? for next 3 months, or maybe next 6 months, or next year. Like, I could really understand how much spend I'm going to incur month on month, or how much cost I would incur month on month, and utilize, be prepared for any reduction or any increase my company wants. So based on my subscription, MSDN platforms, it's determining the things. So you can say nothing they measure, they have mentioned. Currently, they are saying 25.23 rupees is going to be my cost. If I say currently what's running, so currently I've got one AKS stuff and one machine which is getting restarted. So if machine is restarted and it's running, it will certainly change the costing and show us the different costs. And there is another thing which you have to understand. I have just created this machine an hour ago. So the cost cannot be there, or may not be there in the logs where it could really identify and give it. So there were small IP addresses and some small resources which existed earlier. It has considered those costs and given us the cost of 25 rupees 23 paise, which is really good in terms of what it has given to us. How do I list something is important, right? So there is, for example, consider I'm your manager, or maybe manager like me, or maybe leader like me, would really ask people, do not use the GUI, give me the CLI. How do I list something, or how do I list my VMs using the CLI? So when I ask this question, you can straight away ask this question to Copilot and get the things done. Don't waste your time writing CLI. Is okay. Again, let me correct my statement. It's not 100% right, but it would give you an idea how that really looks like. Maybe you need an in-depth knowledge to tackle around, correct it if it has to be. So here is just a command, azvm list output table. Great. Isn't it really mind blowing, guys? Admin guys, I would say every administrator would start loving this once it is there in the organization, because it makes their life very simple. They don't have to refer any Wikipedia or anything what they have got, or conference pages, or maybe any knowledge base in the organization. They are just on the go, on the same screen, bang on. You're there. So having said that, let's move on to some of the topics, which is not just on writing Copilot. So when I'm writing these commands, or maybe writing the prompts, not the commands, the prompts, there is something called prompt engineering. So I'm talking this topic in between of the demo, which is important for you guys to understand, because effective prompt for Microsoft Copilot in Azure is pretty important. So prompt engineering is the process of designing the prompts that actually gives you the right answer, right output, and most accurate output, I would say, or you could say responses. So when it really wants to give you an answer, it references the LLMs. It's kind of like very large language models, right? So when we have that, the models become more sophisticated and understanding how to create an effective prompts to give you more sophisticated, like, right or essential response. That's where, I request everyone to understand how effectively we can write the prompt. We call it as a prompt engineering. You might be seeing this from anywhere. Like, all the social medias are talking now, especially your YouTube reels or maybe Instagram reels. They're talking, prompt engineering is the best thing, best thing, best thing. Yes, that's something which is needed here. So some of the tips which I would like to talk about, pretty straightforward. Be clear and specific. Do not say that, how do I list all my resources on Azure? No, please do not say that. Be specific, like I just mentioned in my previous prompt. How do I list my VMs using Azure CLI so that it can understand you're trying to utilize Azure CLI? You are talking about VMs only, and you're talking about list, which is a table in nature, and that has to be an output of Azure CLI. And you're talking about VM resources only, not anything else. So this really could help you to ensure you get a right answer. So the next straightforward thing which you have to use is set an expectation. For example, how create a guide, like for example, how do I is an expectation which I'm setting very high level. So there are some actionable expectations also we call. What are those actionable items? Like generate, deploy, or stop. I just said restart, right? So these are the actionable responses which could really set an expectation with a copilot saying that this is what we need. So then we also have got the fetching information. That's an expectation again. For example, retrieve, fetch, and I set an expectation of fetching information in my previous prompt. I said list. How do I list? Right? So there are two kind of expectations which are set in a single line to the copilot. So it was pretty good in terms of giving me what I want. So there are some cases where people get frustrated that they don't get real answers, accurate answers, or responses when they use the copilot. So it's happening across the platforms. Like when we talk about M365 Copilot, people are not really happy sometimes because it does not give you the right answer. So technically speaking, it's pretty easy for Azure folks here because it's a small world compared to the larger world. So use it right way. So there are multiple things like context about your scenario is pretty important. You have to add that. Like break down your request. You do not put multiple requests in one go, one chat, one request. Customize the code. Like for example, give me CLI script to create storage account. Okay, that's an example. If I say, then say that give me a CLI script to create a storage account named XYZ or maybe Lingraj 12345, right? In the resource group Test AI Summit. Like I've created Test AI Summit resource group today. So, and you can also specify some region. For example, I've been using the Central India region today. So you can say, give me the CLI script to create a storage account named Lingraj123 in the resource group or in the Test AI Summit resource group in the Central India region. Try this out. It really works out. If you're in front of your computer, you have got Copilot on your computer, please try it out. It will really work out. Then, last two things is like R, like Azure terminology and the feedback loop. These are pretty important in terms of nature to get effective answers and be effective in terms of writing the prompts. Now we have got the CLI part, right? So we have got the CLI. What's a AI shell? I was talking about three ways to use the Copilot. One is the Copilot shell or AI shell, and the other one was talking about the portal, and the third one was the mobile app. So let's talk about the AI shell. AI shell is very interactive in nature. I will show the demo to you guys now, and which actually provides the chat interference for AI language models. So how does it really look? Like it does quickly resolve common Azure CLI and PowerShell errors with guided suggestions as well. Let's look into it. I've recorded that for you guys because we should not run out of the time. So I have recorded that for you guys. This is the recording. I'll be quiet until that recording completes. Look at this. It's actually asking you the login first. Okay, you're logging in, but it also gives you some of the samples. right? So now you have got the AI shell, star-AI shell is in place. Okay. Create a resource group in the chat. Okay, it's getting looped. Let me open that in a different place. Okay, I just saved it here. Okay, this should be visible to you all. So I started a new session, create a resource group and an app in insights, like app insights instance. So it's generating a CLI script for having an app insights instance, which is going to be popping up now. So here you have replace the placeholders with your specific requirements is what it says. Yes, we are trying to replace it now. You can see here. So West US is the region, app name test AI1 I have given. Now you can see just to create the names here. Okay, so we changed everything there. Set of variables. Now we are running the script. Not the script. Come on. Okay, it's done. So you can see here, test AI of SUS is being created as an insights app. So that's how we actually utilize the Azure AI shell, or I would say Azure CLI part with a Copilot. So that's kind of like amazing what you can use in your day-to-day work. So having said that, let's go on hands-on deploying the managing the VMs on the Copilot, because we've been talking about infrastructure in this session. So quickly, we will run that and help you guys understand. Okay, hope you guys are ready. Now, what I would like to do here is I'd like to understand some of the questions or some of the details from AI. For example, how do I create a low-cost VM in Azure? So it's giving me an answer. How do I create a low-cost VM in Azure? So these factors will really help us to create. Okay. And what are the best regions for the low-cost VMs? You can ask, how can I optimize my VMs cost? Everything you can ask. I would like to ask one question to Copilot. That is, help me create cost-efficient virtual machine. Look at this. It says region. You'd like to tell us what region you would like to do it and how to do it. So that's something which you can implement in your creation. But we would like to do something else also, right? On a day-to-day operations, we don't really create VMs like this, like one VM or two VMs. We would do it in bulk, or maybe we would do it in an automated way using the Terraform or maybe something else. So now I would like to have something like one single VM. I would like to copy to the any other region. So I will say, help me copy VM test machine. Let's see what it does. Okay, so it says test machine is in the region Central India. Choose the region for, I'm choosing the same region. So it's saying there are unsupported factors. So I found the following properties in your existing VM. I will copy over to your next new VM. Review unsupported stuff, review disclaimers, go to creates VM. So I'm creating a VM. You can see here. So one thing you have to remember, even though you're creating a VM, just copying the VM using the Copilot, your username password is pretty important. You have to have this to be provided. Like you have to provide this for yourself. AI will not do that for you. So I'm just entering the password. Okay, I'm just clicking review create. So this is really quick in terms of what we could do. I felt the first time when I did that, I felt mind blowing. Validation processed, VM is getting created or having created. Sorry, my bad. Now, consider now this is deployment happening. If some deployment is in progress, it suddenly got failed or maybe not happening. I would like to understand why this is getting failed, why I'm not able to create a VM. Then you can really use the prompts like, help me troubleshoot my VM deployment failure, or I would say, troubleshoot my VM allocation failure issue for the deployment. Or I would say, my VM failed to provision with an error. Can you please help me troubleshoot? So ask it politely, it will help you do this stuff. So there are some other commands which we generally use. For example, consider we have got a responsibility to shut down some of the VMs. Okay, so I would say stop VMs. Okay, stop VMs in Central India. Okay, let's see what it does. In fact, the deployment is successful. The copy of test machine is ready. Trying to generate Azure Resource Graph query. So when it does say that it's generating Azure Resource Graph query, that is KQL. So KQL is the language which is used to interact with the resource graph. So this is just an information for you guys. That's what it does when it wants to interact. You would have been knowing it, but still. So following machines, virtual machines are currently running in the Central India region. You can explore. So it says you have reached maximum limit in this. So let's open a new chat. Remember, I did mention you guys, I can make 15 requests in one chat and I can have 10 chats in a day in 24 hours. So let's type it again. Stop VMs in Central India. So did I write any command line? No, I didn't write any command line, but it was amazing that it's taking its understanding. Okay, it's understanding my instructions or specifications that stop. Yes, stop. VMs, yes, VMs. And the region. I'll be happy if it gives me a stop button. Wow, super. I'm amazed actually to see that. Okay, it's stopping the machine, it's stopping my billing. I'm happy. I'm saving money there. Okay, we created VM. We really worked on the stopping of it. There are multiple things you can really work on. Like, for example, restart my web app named something, or you can say, show me all the web applications which I have got in the particular region, or maybe show me, or maybe start my AKS cluster, or I would say, stop my AKS cluster. Let's see, I have created a cluster just before the webinar started. Let's see, will it stop or not? That's pretty important to use or understand. It should not give actually because I have not given any ID of my nodes or cluster. Okay, so look at this. I will now proceed to stop this cluster. The operations will stop the control plane and agent nodes entirely while maintaining the objects. Super, it's stopping everything. I don't have to work. Now, I want to mention AKS cluster because we need this to run to understand how the monitoring really works in. That's a topic which we have to touch base in terms of knowing the monitoring aspects and the costing aspect. Start my AKS cluster. What's that? AI summits test. Let's see how does it really work. Sorry, I can't help you with that. Please try something else. Right? So now let's ask a question. How can I start my AKS? I did not put a question mark, but let's see how that really works out. So we are running out of the time. We are 2 minutes or ran already. I'll be quick enough. So it's asking us to do check. So you have several options to start it, like PowerShell CLI portal. I can say, how do I start using the Azure CLI? So it says your resource group, name of the cluster is pretty important to run. So if I have to run, so if I have to run a CLI, I have to create a storage group, which I don't have. Let's use it now. Okay. Okay, I want Azure to create a storage group. Meanwhile, let's understand, meanwhile, that is getting created. So what kind of a prompts you can use in the monitoring? Like the generally what we see is a container logs. For example, any errors in the container logs, like show the logs for last day of the pod, or maybe I would say check in the logs which containers are keep restarting. Show me all the Kubernetes events with regards to your containers. So that's something which you can really use, or maybe we can use okay, requesting a cloud shell succeeded, connecting the terminals is done. So this is something which you can, it will pop out now actually. So there is an error because I have not given a resource group and cluster name. If you enter the cluster name and the resource group name, for sure it will start. I'm not going to do because we have already overrun with the time. But I would like to say, show you one thing in terms of monitoring with regards to the VM. Cluster is not started, so we do not have plenty of the logs for the cluster or the Kubernetes cluster, but still we can try that once we complete for the VM. So this is one particular prompt for your monitoring aspect, which you can really do. There are something for the design and the troubleshooting of the networks as well, which we will see in a couple of minutes now. So so now let's see the memory usage trend for VMs last 4 years. Sorry, 4 hours. I'm sorry. So that was a slip of tongue. The 4 hours, not the 4 years. So you can see here the 3.9 gig memory was like used in the test machine copy, not the other one. So I can rephrase it for VMs over the last. Let's see, will it take two VMs in considerations when we ask for it? I'm not being specific there for a particular resource. I'm just being statement or maybe highly at a high level. I'm just asking them, like asking the Copilot that what it could be. You can see here, it's asking querying your selected subscription, blah blah blah. It's checking out my machines. Okay, so we have got average available memory bytes usage for test machine. Okay, so you can see here, so more information popped up. So if you need more detailed insights, you can go to Metrics Explorer and look at it. So now let's see the network utilization, network bytes utilization, because if you're a network engineer or network administrator working on cloud, you would really look into this. So this is pretty important when we actually have got these things to perform on day-to-day aspect. Cool. So amazing. We have used 286 megabytes on an average. So some network out total was this. This is super. If I would have done Bastion host, or maybe if I would have logged in using RDP to the server, we could have used more. So it's pretty low. I would like to show you something about the Kubernetes, because that comes under our infrastructure, which we would certainly use a lot. Finally, after this, there are multiple aspects which you could learn yourself, but I would like to show you guys how we can optimize the code, like write and optimize the code we have written. Generate Azure CLI scripts is pretty important, which we would like to know. So I'm just closing this off. Okay, you can see the events which has happened for all of all the events which has connected to my Kubernetes, which is pretty important, pretty recent in terms, not important, pretty recent, which I can refer and understand in one go. So that's something which is related to your Kubernetes, VMs, and monitoring aspect. So let's talk about a bit of your Azure CLI. I would like to generate a script. I can say simple prompts, which I have used earlier, as this one. I'm writing, give me a CLI script to create a new storage account, which could really help me to implement. But a little more, if we would like to ask, what we could ask. Maybe something like, create a VNet with particular subnets or address space. Let's try that. So here is a script where I can just hit on run. It could do that. No, we have to really change the name and all this stuff. Sorry. Okay. I'm asking Azure Copilot on Azure to create another CLI script for me, where I can go ahead and create a virtual network as Happy to do that. So you guys might be thinking, we are all beyond CLI. We use the Terraform, we use the Bicep. How can we utilize those aspects here? So you might be thinking, I can show one example for you guys in terms of creating Terraform or creating Terraform configuration, I would say, for a container app resource. So let's see, I did create one previously. So I'm just creating one here. This is for an example, folks. You can really understand and use it. So here is your Terraform configurations to create a container app, which is readily available. If I just have to copy that and show it to you guys. Okay, I'm just bringing a notepad so that I can copy and show it to you guys. So you can see here, this is your Terraform config for creating container app resource with the name of my app. So this is amazing and the mind-blowing stuff which I wanted to show you at last. Apart from this, we have some takeaways which we really wanted to talk about, or which I really wanted to talk at the end of the session. We have got 2 minutes to complete the Q&A as well. So usually 45 minutes for the session and then 15 minutes for the Q&A and some of the questions, queries, what we would have. But here, the key takeaways, like you just saw that how we can deploy and manage infrastructure with AI, monitor and optimize the health of the infrastructure, and also cost optimization. Cost optimization, we did speak at the beginning of the session. So hope you guys enjoyed the session, or maybe if you're looking at the recording, please reach out to us if you have any question, anyone, maybe Pratap or me or any speaker who are there today for any questions you have, so that we can help you to understand Azure and the AI better. Having said that, we have got some Q&A sessions. If you have Q&A, as I said, you can come back to us, reach out to us. These are the QR codes on screen. You can scan it. You can join my group, which is AI Cloud and Collaboration Trainings, which I do it for free. And we have got Innovation Tech Community, which is again specifically made for the events and the knowledge sharing purpose. Me and Pratap and other MCTs and MVPs run that community. First one is my LinkedIn profile. You can visit my profile. You can connect with me on the LinkedIn. Let's be connected. Let's follow each other. Let's learn. Thank you, folks.